He a fan, he a fan, he a fan. He a fan, he a fan, he a fan. Yo, that's our theme music, yo, for the beginning of the lives, yo. He a fan, he a fan, he a fan. And Diddy is a fan. Yo, but the crazy thing about it is, y'all, some people think that's all Diddy is a fan. Some people think that Diddy is not a criminal. So, in this video, I think we gotta go back. How many people raped Cassie for indictment? Matter of fact, let me see if I got that. I should have it. Should have it. Hold on. Sleep to my paperwork lady, man. She keep me laced with all the latest paperwork. Let me see. I should have it. Because from what I understand, and we're going to read the indictment against Diddy, if y'all ain't already been in somebody's page that went through the whole thing. Yo, slow grind, Vic, PNR, what it is, G-Man. Some people say, yo, being freaky not a crime, man. But I think it's a little bit more than him just being freaky. You know, I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. All right. That's Julio. I know I got Cassie indictment. I know I did. Puff latest lawsuit. Crystal sues Diddy. Shit. Puff latest lawsuit. Y'all hit that like button, y'all. We ready to rock and roll. Hold on, I'm just trying to see something. Yo, because I think we gotta go back. You know, because this the thing. Everybody don't read on their page. They don't read the whole document. They just be giving people excerpts from the document. I try not to do that over here. I like reading the whole document. Because I want to make sure we got everything. We got everything on the record. So how many people is familiar with Cassie whole lawsuit? The whole lawsuit, not just, you know, a portion of it. Oh, man. Because a lot of people are saying, you know, well, she consented. And I'm trying to explain to people like, yo, it's a little bit deeper than that. It's a little bit deeper than consent. Is it right here? No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Megan Stallion. I know I got it. I know she sent it to me. Send me every goddamn thing. I might not have it. We might gotta go to DJ Academics page. I know DJ Academics did it. I could have sworn I did it, but I must didn't. What's that? Yo, what's up, Charlene Risky? What it is? And Vic, and see, this the thing. I think a lot of guys, cause it's not females. I think a lot of guys are looking at it from a male's perspective. You know, yo, if you don't, yo, you can't nobody make you do nothing. Like, yo, that's thinking as a man, yo. I don't think a lot of people that's thinking that this is not a crime, I don't think they're looking at it from an angle of a female, you know. Or angle of understanding women. Understanding they can be manipulated, they can be tricked. You know, they can get put in uncompromising situations and become scared and afraid. And just allow things to go on that they know ain't right. Most men, we gonna back up out of that. Hell no, you tripping. But a woman, some of them, not all, you know, because some women ain't standing for nothing. But some women will endure a certain level of disrespect. And it's not because they want to. It's just because they scared. They probably could have been, you know. See, my thing is, yo, when it come down to the Diddler, I ain't really got no sympathy for him. I'ma still look at his situation, you know, how it's supposed to be looked at. You know, I ain't gonna hold no bias against him. But based off of what I know about the Cassie case, the shit don't, you know. Look, wow. So let me switch this over. Switch this over. Thought I could have sworn I had the whole goddamn indictment, y'all. I know I read it. I must just say do no video on it. Because I sworn I did though. Just the end of Diddy. That's not it. That's not it. I know I did Lil Raw's lawsuit. It's the same day. What's up, Nay? All right, yo. So look, y'all. We gotta go to Cassie lawsuit first. I'm gonna try to find somebody that got, because I think people gotta understand what, because from what I understand, and like I said, I didn't read the lawsuit yet. We're gonna do that today. But from what I understand, this lawsuit that Diddy just got these charges, this indictment, is largely based off that lawsuit. Like, people keep saying she consented, yo, but this is a little bit deeper than consent. Here you go, right here. Who's this? Make It Happen TV, whatever the fuck it say. Yeah, he definitely should have pulled a Russell.
Kamala Harris saw something unfair as a kid, her mother would ask, "What are you gonna do about it?" So when she saw the big banks cheating homeowners, as an attorney general, she did something about it, winning billions for
Hey, William, that's the thing. I don't think they want Diddy to name names. It looked like they trying to get people to tell on Diddy. It looked like, and we're gonna get to it. It looked like they giving everybody a pass to tell on Diddy. You know the fix is in.
As president,
I don't think they're interested in locking nobody else up. If you go back, if you go back to the press conference, the man exact words is, "We're not done this investigation. So if you know something, tell us." To me, that was like a motherfucking bat signal to say, we know who you is. Now you either gonna cooperate with us or we coming to get you. That's what I took from that. That was like a bat signal. Yeah, we know who you is. All right, so y'all gotta hear Cassie lawsuit first. I'm gonna speed it up.
What's up, everybody? This is a lot. So I'll go social media in the dark times.
All right, this is Cassie's lawsuit, y'all.
And now, just that little admission is gonna come back to bite your nasty behind right on that.
I'm gonna try to speed it up.
The truth. Oh, sorry. So I don't technically have to put the allegedly banner because this is what Cassie's alleging, but I will be giving my kind of commentary through this. The truth, however, is that Cassie, Mrs. Cassandra Ventura, was held down by Mr. Combs and endured over a decade of his violent behavior and disturbed demands. For Mrs. Ventura, the dark times were those she spent trapped by Mr. Combs in a cycle of abuse.
Is that too fast, y'all? Sorry, I'm gonna take it back one more. That's too fast. It's too fast. This should be good right here.
Violence and trafficking, among other violent and unlawful acts. Now, I want you guys to remember, when Cassie came out, Cassie was that girl. She had a hit song. She was dating music producer Brian Leslie and Bleeding. Blew up a man's car after he learned he was romantically interested in Miss Ventura. You blew up a car, Diddy? Was it 06?
Come on, okay. Stop talking. Just read, nigga.
You blew up a man's car. Forced Miss Ventura to engage in acts with male sex workers while pleasuring himself and filming the encounters. That definitely sounds like trafficking. Ran out of his apartment with a pow-pow in pursuit of a rival industry executive whom he learned was nearby. Demanded that Miss Ventura to carry his pow-pow in her purse just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is. J-Lo got the hell out. J-Lo saw one occurrence and got the hell out. Introduced Miss Ventura to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse and required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addictions. I believe all of it. Miss Ventura met Mr. Combs in 2005 when she was 19 years old and he was 37 years old. He signed her to his label, Bad Boy Records, and within a few years lured Miss Ventura into an ostentatious, fast-paced, drug-fueled lifestyle and into a romantic relationship with him, her boss, one of the most powerful men in the music industry, and a vicious, cruel, controlling man nearly two decades or senior.
Like, yo, when y'all looking at, when you evaluating this situation, yo, you gotta factor in how powerful this guy is, man. It is about Cassie. From what I'm talking about. This indictment is about Cassie. From what I've been told. I ain't read the indictment yet. We're gonna read the indictment next. But I want to give people just an understanding on what Cassie was saying. Because a lot of people think that, you know, she was complicit, you know, she wanted the money. Yo, but I think it's bigger than that, yo. It's bigger than that.
I don't know what he did to get you to leave Ryan Leslie, but you definitely were in a relationship with Ryan Leslie when you got to Diddy.
My bad, Race.
So I don't know. I do think at 19, if your boss persuades you to leave your boyfriend, you probably would.
Remember, she's 19, he's 40, he's 37.
I always wondered what it was because I thought they were a good couple. But
yo, come on, bro. All the extra shit. Just read.
I'm gonna have to look that up and see if Ryan Leslie's car was ever blown up. Adding insult to injury, Mr. Combs used illegal substances and threats of violence to force Miss Ventura into repeated unwanted encounters with male sex workers. Now, Diddy, was she the only one involved with those sex workers? This is where he was involved. Allegedly. Y'all go ahead and hit that like button we have, or even if you signed an NDA. The best.
Man, I gotta find somebody else to read it. He's doing too much talking. I need somebody that's gonna read it straight through. We ain't got all day be waiting on his ass. What the lady? What's her name? This is somebody breaking it down. Yeah, this probably be a lot better.
Easy to donate. I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Yeah, hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like button. We ready to rock and roll. We just trying to get over the hump.
Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. According to Cassie, Diddy subjected her. 35-page document came across my desk today with Cassie Ventura being the plaintiff and Sean P. Diddy Combs being the defendant. Now, what the heck happened between these two? According to Cassie, Diddy subjected her to a pattern of control and abuse over about a decade, and he vehemently denies these allegations. We are going to jump straight into this story, but before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this case and so much more. Now, let's get back into it. In 2022, Mr. Combs received the Lifetime Achievement Award at the BET Awards. During his acceptance speech, Mr. Combs stated, "I have to give a special shout out. Thank you, love, to the people that were really there for me." He named a number of people before adding, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love. The truth is, however, is that Cassie, Ms. Cassandra Ventura, was held down by Mr. Combs and endured over a decade of his violent behavior and disturbing demands. For Ms. Ventura, the dark times were those she spent trapped by Mr. Combs in a cycle of abuse, violence, and sex trafficking. Among other violent and unlawful acts, Mr. Combs raped Ms. Ventura in her own home after she tried to leave him. Often punched, kicked, and stomped on Ms. Ventura, resulting in bruises, burst lips, black eyes, and bleeding.
Like, listen to this, yo. This is bigger than just domestic violence or consensual. This, like, yo, y'all gotta listen to what she's alleging. And from what I understand, from what they said at that hearing, they got evidence to back these claims up.
times were those she spent trapped by Mr. Combs in a cycle of abuse, violence, and sex trafficking. Among other violent and unlawful acts, Mr. Combs raped Miss Ventura in her own home after she tried to leave him, often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on Miss Ventura, resulting in bruises, burst lips, black eyes, and bleeding. Blew up a man's car after he learned that he was romantically interested in Miss Ventura, forced Miss Ventura to engage in sex acts with male sex workers while masturbating and filming the encounters, ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rivalry industry executive whom he learned was nearby, demanded Miss Ventura to carry his firearm in her purse just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is, and introduced Miss Ventura to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse, and required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addiction. So I am going to give you cliff notes because there's no way in the world this is going to read 35 pages to you guys tonight. So it starts with an introduction of Cassie and Diddy meeting in 2005 when she was 19 and Diddy was 37 years old. He lured her into a fast drug-fueled lifestyle, and he was almost 2 decades her senior. Now he wanted complete control over her personal life while providing her all the avenues of success as an inspiring artist, but in giving her that, he demanded obedience, loyalty, and silence during their relationship. Now she said Diddy would go into these violent rages when he would beat her savagely. Now his staff and employees witnessed this, but with him being Diddy, no one really spoke up on her behalf. After the abuse, he hid her and showered her with gifts, which is typical for serial abuse. Now Diddy constantly reminded her that he could do harm to her by requiring her to carry a gun in her purse, or by him blowing up the car of a musician that was romantically interested in her. He was abusive sexually, physically, and often made her have unwanted sex with male sex workers. She tried to leave him over and over, but he had a tight hold over her life. She tried to hide from him, but he had networks and affiliations of so many different people, but they would only return her right back to him. Now there was
like she tried to get away from this man so many times. The man had her fucking medical records. Like when she went to the doctors, they called him. Like he had complete control over this girl's life, man.
Diddy for good, but she ended up having dinner with him at her home, and he sexually assaulted her over and over, and she constantly told him no. Now that everything is done and she's completely gone, the abuse is still haunting her. She needs intensive medical care as well as psychological care, and Cassie wants justice for the decade of her life that she can never get back, that she had to deal with threats of violence, excessive use of drugs, physical and psychological abuse, as well as sexual slavery. Now, according to Ms. Ventura, she brings this action seeking injunctive, declaratory, and monetary relief against defendants in violation of federal sex trafficking laws. Now, Cassie signed a 10-year record deal with Bad Boys in 2006 after Diddy heard her single in a club. Now, Cassie was very naive, so Diddy positioned her up. He gave her a blue pill. She did not want to take it, and she asked, "Hey, what is this?" He take her out. Now, she couldn't say no because she was afraid of losing her record deal. She said yes, and he picked her up.
This how he courted her. That's not how he courted her.
Pursue her anyway. At her 21st birthday party, Diddy pulled Cassie into a bathroom and forcibly kissed her. She ran out of the bathroom in the hotel suite crying. Now, in 2007, he asked to take her out. Now, she couldn't say no because she was afraid of losing her record deal. She said yes, and he picked her up, but he was already inebriated. Now, when he picked her up, he gave her a blue pill. She did not want to take it, and she asked, "Hey, what is this?" He said, "You'd like it." Now, she later found out it was ecstasy. That was the first time she had ever gotten high. Time had went by, and he kept giving her drugs she did not want to take, but she refused in fear of no longer being able to please him and losing her record deal. Next thing she knew, she was in a full-on relationship with Diddy. He spent money on cars, apartments, clothing, everything she wanted, she had. Now, Diddy bought apartments right down the street from the homes that he was at. He bought an apartment in Los Angeles as well as New York, but this was so he can control her. He introduced her to a drug-filled lifestyle that kept her complacent and compliant. Diddy was on pain pills that were prescribed by a doctor, but when he ran out, he demanded that she go and procure more from a doctor in her own name. She didn't really want to. Now, Diddy wanted access to everything, her day-to-day activities, her travel, and even her medical records were emailed to him. Now, there was a time she started experiencing memory loss, which was more than likely due to the drugs and the head injuries caused by him beating her. She went to the doctor and had an MRI, and the MRI was even sent to him. He asked what she called her grandfather, and she replied, "Pop Pop." So Diddy wanted her to refer to him as that nickname, Pop Pop. Then there's a time that Diddy became enraged. They were doing drugs at his home, and one of his security came to the room and said that Suge Knight was down the street at Mel's Drive-In. Diddy ran into the safe and got multiple guns and ran out of his home where he thought Suge was. And we all see that little run out the house didn't take him nowhere. Now, did it? Now, over the decade of their time spent together, he would violently abuse her.
And see that, and that's the thing, Risky, yo, like, because it's only men I'm saying this. I don't think men is looking at it from like a woman, like men and women are different. This woman probably 100-something pounds. You dealing with Diddy, probably weigh like 180, got a million connections, can get anything done. Like, she probably felt hopeless. More than likely, she did feel hopeless.
And leaving her in a hotel for days where she would have to heal up. Now, he kicked and beat her so violently one time after a Jay-Z party that he ended up kicking her out of the car, leaving her to hail a cab back home. Now, in 2009, she was speaking to a music manager about helping her grow her career, and Diddy became enraged and once again got in his car and began stomping her in the face. Once the car stopped at Diddy's residence, Cassie tried to run away, but Diddy caught up to her and
It makes me so mad that billionaires pay less in taxes than I do. And Trump wants to give them even more.
Because it's master manipulation, What people gotta understand is, you can't use your money, power, and influence and then exert it on another person. That's a crime. That's a crime. So it's like, maybe she liked the freak offs at first. You understand? But maybe it got to a point where she wasn't uncomfortable with it. She was uncomfortable now. But now it's too late. She's stuck in it. You feel me? Mentally. Because these people that move like Diddy, they attack you mentally first. It's mental manipulation way before it's physical. You understand what I'm saying? So he broke her down mentally, made her feel like she was helpless. It was nobody she could depend on but him, and then he just controlled her whole life. You can't do that, y'all.
Harris will cut taxes for working people.
Yeah, it's traumatizing.
Trump fights for billionaires like him. Kamala fights for us.
Right. And that's another thing. He would exert his power on other people in front of her. You know, like, yo, it's like he was playing prison games on her, man. That's type shit niggas do to niggas in prison.
Just head to adskiller.com.
It's mental manipulation.
Now,
that's what it is.
Continued to kick her in the face. He realized how bad he had beat her and got her to a hotel in LA where she could heal. She recognized that she was powerless and this man had a team that bowed down to him and no one would tell him that he was doing wrong. She then became numb to the abuse after a while and became beholden and blindly followed his instructions in fear of another vicious beating. He often referred to their relationship as a Bobby and Whitney type of relationship, and he also told her that his fantasy was to see her with another penis. He invited a male sex worker into the home and they all took drugs and they wore masquerade masks. He made her perform sexual acts on this man and Diddy watched and masturbated and directed the acts that they would do next.
Right,
Now, this one encounter lasted multiple days
like
and Diddy referred to this arrangement as a freak-off or an FO. So whenever he wanted one, he'd tell Cassie that he wanted an FO, and she had to facilitate finding the sex worker and also finding the location. Now, sometimes Diddy would want these events to happen weekly. Now, Cassie was instructed to go on websites and different escort services to find these men, and Diddy instructed her to find ones with big black penises. Now, during these occasions, Cassie was given cocaine, ecstasy, ketamine, marijuana, alcohol, and it actually helped her to disassociate herself during these horrid encounters. Now, he would record these acts on his phone and his laptop, and she would go behind him and delete them, and thought that she was done. She'd never have to watch him, never have to see him, but this showed her just how powerless she was. Diddy actually made her watch one of the videos that she thought she deleted while on a plane ride home, and it just showed her that she definitely did not have any power in the situation. Now, sometimes Diddy would beat her in front of these sex workers, and she actually allowed it because she was living in fear of him. He also showered her with gifts in front of these sex workers. Now, in 2015, during her 29th birthday, she was having a birthday dinner, and Diddy asked her to leave and have an FO. She said no, she didn't want to do it. She was cornered by not only him, but his security as well, and forced out of the building and taken to the hotel where she did have to perform sexual acts with the male sex worker. She came back high. Diddy was high.
This is a crime, yo.
One of her friends at a hotel and picked the friend up like a baby and dangled her over the hotel balcony, scaring her friends, but she was too inebriated to even say anything to him. Now, there were also moments in the relationship where she would try to leave, but then his network of friends and associates would only bring her back. Now, in 2011, during a break in the relationship, she started dating Kid Cudi for a brief moment. Now, Diddy was out of town and he asked her to come back for an FO, and because she was afraid of him, she decided to do it. Now, during that time, Diddy started going through her phone and he found her emails, and she had emails with Kid Cudi. Child, he got upset, he picked up a corkscrew, and he lunged towards her. Now, in fear, she left and she went to Kid Cudi's house. Diddy's team contacted her and was like, look, you need to go back and talk to Diddy. He's going through, see what's wrong with him. Now, in fear that he was going to do something to Kid Cudi, she went back, and when she got back, Diddy beat the brakes off of her again. In 2012, during Fashion Week, Diddy contacted her and was like, look, I'm going to blow up Kid Cudi's car, and I want to do it while his friends and family are there. Next thing you know, Kid Cudi's car ended up getting blown up. Now, in 2015, Cassie was
filming this
in Cape Town.
Yo, what did that do to a person mentally? That man went to this girl and said, I'm going to blow up Kid Cudi car, and I'm going to do it while his friends is there. Then next thing you know, it's done. Like, yo, you gotta factor that shit in, yo, when you looking at this whole situation, yo. Like, yo, to a woman like her, she probably, you know, she probably don't know nothing about no street shit. She probably never seen some of the things that a lot of women have seen in the world, in some of these communities. Imagine going through that. Like, what the fuck is going through her mind when this man just told her, man, I'm ready to blow his car up. And his car get blown up. You feel me? After, remember, this is the guy she dealing with on the low.
Filming the movie, she ended up finding this actor. She started dating him. Diddy found out about it. Diddy contacted the actor and threatened him. And the actor ended up contacting Cassie like, hey, you need to call Diddy. So that relationship was easily tarnished. In 2016, she had another FO with Diddy at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, Los Angeles. And during that time, Diddy got extremely inebriated again. And he punched her in her eye, giving her a black eye. He ended up going to sleep and she tried to exit the hotel quietly. But he ended up waking up, screaming at her. And he followed her down the hallway, yelling at her. And he grabbed some glass vases and he started throwing them at her, causing the glass to crash everywhere. She then got into the elevator and tried to escape. Now, she managed to make
evidence. That's what I'm saying, yo. What they found in that house is tapes that give her story credibility. What she just explained was what we seen in that video.
It downstairs to the lobby, and she quickly ran out and hailed a cab. Then she started realizing this man is really going to be upset with me and things are only going to get worse. So she attempted to go back, and when she went back, the hotel staff was like, look, we saw the cameras, we saw everything that happened, get back into the cab and go ahead and leave. So she ended up leaving. They are saying that Diddy paid the hotel $50,000 just for that security footage. So it shows you money can get you a lot more than what you thought. Now she went to go stay with one of her friends in Florida, and James Cruz, who was the president of that.
What if I told you that instead of setting up a green screen,
Yeah, man.
you can just
Diddy was.
click a button into script and
He let the power
same
get to him, man.
exact effect. So I have my project here, and
Let the
as
power
you can
get
see,
to
my
him.
background is
Bad boy management tracked her down and told her that her single would not come out if she did not call Diddy's phone. A woman who worked at Sony Music reached out and also gave her the same ultimatum, letting her know that her record would not come out if she did not contact Mr. Combs.
Look.
He also had one of his attorneys contact.
A record can't come out. Like, yo, come on. Like, yo, these are crimes, y'all. That man was in full control of her life. So it's easy to say, well, man, you can just leave. Yo, it's the same. Yo, it's almost similar to what I be saying about the drill rapper in the interviewer like, yo, you are putting a person, you putting a person's career in jeopardy. If I don't do what this person say, my career is over. Now that's easy to say, fuck your career. Yo, but yo, that's somebody's livelihood. Like, yo, you shouldn't put people. When you're in a position of power, yo, you don't put people in those type of positions. You don't put people in compromising positions that way. You don't do that, y'all.
Mr. Combs. He also had one of his attorneys contact her, and that lawyer told her that it was in her best interest to call Mr. Combs back. Each time she tried to run away from him, he had a powerful network of associates and friends and workers who would contact her and let her know you need to go back and force her back. Now, during this time, she's losing family members, she's losing friends. No one is really wanting to hang around her anymore because not only is he being abusive to her, but he's also kind of being abusive to her friends as well. So this is the point when she's like, you know what, enough is enough. So in September of 2018, she joined him for dinner at an Italian restaurant in Malibu, California, and this dinner was supposed to be the dinner that she discussed leaving him for good. But after dinner, Mr. Combs went to her home in Malibu, California. This is a home that he paid for. He forced himself into the apartment and tried to kiss her. She kept declining, but he pushed his way right on to being with her, and he forcibly pulled off her clothing and unbuckled her belt and proceeded to rape her. While she repeatedly saying no, she pushed him away, and he did it anyway. At this point, she couldn't do it anymore. She said she was done. She ended up moving away. She gave him back the car that he had gave her. She got her own place, but in early 2019, her home address was revealed online, and this led to her fearing for her safety. She thought that he would be able to find her, so she was under immense duress. Now, she was finally able to get away, and she credits her children as the reason why she was able to get a new lease on life. However, during her first few months of her pregnancies, she said that she was still going through the struggles of her addiction to alcohol and drugs. Without those vices, she started to have horrific nightmares at night, thinking about the sexual acts he would get her to do, the beatings and all of that. She checked herself into an inpatient treatment at a rehabilitation center, and during that time, she was required to do intensive therapy and other medical care to recover from Mr. Combs' abuse. She is asking for a money judgment for mental pain and anguish and severe emotional distress, according to proof. She's also asking for punitive and exemplary damages, according to proof, and also her attorney fees and costs. Diddy's attorney is speaking on his behalf, and Diddy is denying it all. He said it didn't happen. He's not admitting to it. They're just going to have to go to trial, and we're going to have to see how this all works out.
All right.
What I need to do.
So now we familiar with Cassie. Now let's go to the indictment. Got the whole indictment right here. This is the whole indictment. Let's see what the fuck going on. Let's see where we're gonna start at. Damn. All right, count one, racketeering conspiracy. For decades, Sean Combs, a.k.a. Puff Daddy, a.k.a. P. Diddy, a.k.a. all his a.k.a.s. Excuse me. The defendant abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. To do so, Combs relied on employees, resources, and the influence of a multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The defendant operated his business headquarters at various times in Manhattan and Los Angeles under a variety, of United States-based corporate entities, including Bad Boy. See, remember I told y'all, yo, they coming after Benzo, they tying Bad Boy into this. They coming after assets. Entertainment, Combs Enterprise and Combs Global, the Combs Business, corporate entities in the Combs Business included, among other things, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spritz business, a marketing agency, and television network and media company. See, they saying he used all of this to get what he wanted to do, what he wanted to do. At all times relevant in this indictment, Sean Combs, all the AKAs, the defendant engaged in persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse toward women and other individuals. This abuse was at times verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual. As part of this pattern of abuse, Combs manipulated women, but I tell y'all, manipulation, y'all, to participate in highly orchestrated performances of sexual activity with male commercial sex workers. At times, Combs and others acted as his direction, made arrangements for women and commercial sex workers to fly to Combs' location. That's the trafficking part, y'all. He was doing it state to state. Combs ensured participation from the women by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off the same. Like, yo, these are crimes, y'all. Like, you can't do that, y'all. Let's do it again. Combs ensured participation from the women by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them. You know, that takes away judgment. Controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off the same, and using intimidation and violence. Physical abuse by Combs, the defendant, was reoccurring and widely known. On numerous occasions from at least in or about 2009 and continuing for years, Combs assaulted women by, among other things, striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects, and kicking them. These assaults were at times witnessed by others and included one instance in Los Angeles hotel in or about March 2016, which was captured on video. So that's why they released that video. They released that video to say, yeah, we know what you did, Diddy. We know what you did, buddy. God damn, I messed it up, y'all. All right. Here we go. When a number of the hotel security staff intervened, Combs attempted to bribe the staff members to ensure silence, which means they probably talked to them staff members too. More than likely, they talked to them. The defendant used the Combs business, including certain employees, to carry out, facilitate, and cover up his abuse in commercial sex. Those employees include the security staff, Jane Deal. You know what I mean? The fuck is up with the... See, that's why I ain't respect a lot of them guys coming out, man, because they participated in this shit. Household staff, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors, and other close associates acted as Combs' intermediaries, and their conduct was facilitated and assisted by Combs' control of the Combs business, which means people's jobs was on the line if they didn't participate. If they didn't get what he wanted done, their jobs is on the line. So that's the slave-like, man. That's the slave-like atmosphere. From at least on in or about 2008 through on or about the date of the filing of this indictment, Combs, and all the names, and others known and unknown, were members and associates of a criminal organization, the Combs Enterprise, or the Enterprise. Members and associates of the Combs Enterprise engaged and attempted to engage in, among other activities, sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion, and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotic offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The Combs Enterprise, including its leadership, its members, and its associates, constituted an enterprise as defined by Title 18. This is a group of individuals associated. In fact, although not a legal entity, the Combs Enterprise consisted of Combs, aka, and all his names. Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprise. All right, we already saying that. Combs Enterprise constituted an ongoing organization where members function as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objective, which means he had full support of everybody. You understand what I'm saying? He used all his resources. He used his guards, his security guards. He used the people that worked in his home. He used this. You understand? That's why they labeling it. That's why they charging it under a RICO. They saying this is an organization. This is organized. Y'all had roles. Y'all had duties. Like this, not something that was sloppily put together. The Combs enterprise was engaged and its activities affected interstate and foreign commerce. The Combs enterprise operated in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere. At all times relevant to this indictment, all his names, the defendant and others known and unknown participated in unlawful and other activities related to conduct of the Combs enterprise affairs. These individuals included certain Combs business employees, such as members of Combs security staff, household, personal assistants. Yeah, yo, y'all see what I'm trying to say? Y'all see what I'm saying? He used his whole network to facilitate this sex thing he had going on. Like the man's a fucking weirdo. The purpose of the Combs enterprise included the following: operating a global business in the media, entertainment, and lifestyle industries, including, among other things, record labels, recording studios, apparel lines. We already seen that. Enriching members and associates of the enterprise, including his leader, Combs, and in particular those who demonstrated loyalty to Combs and willingness to conceal his crimes. So basically, he was paying people based off of, what they can get done. Preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power of Combs' enterprise, including the power of his leader, Combs, through violence, use of firearms, threats of violence, coercion, and verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. Fulfilling the personal desires of Combs, particularly those related to Combs' sexual gratifications, including through the exploitation of women and the use of commercial sex workers. Enabling Combs and other members and associates of the Combs enterprise to engage in unlawful acts of violence, including sexual violence, sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for the purpose of prostitution, coercion, and the enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics distribution, and other crimes, and concealing the commission of such acts. Securing absolute loyalty from members of the Combs enterprise, including through acts of violence and threats. Protecting the Combs enterprise and its members and associates, including Combs, from detection and prosecution by law enforcement authorities through acts of intimidation, manipulation, bribery, and threats of retaliation against individuals who witnessed the crimes committed by members and associates of the enterprise. Means and methods of the enterprise. Associates of Combs enterprise conducted and participated in the conduct of affairs of the Combs enterprise, including the following: Combs and his members and associates of the Combs enterprise wielded the power and prestige of Combs, role at the Combs business to intimidate, threaten, and lure females and victims into Combs' orbit, and often under the pretense of a romantic relationship. Combs then used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sex acts with male commercial sex workers that Combs referred to as, among other things, freak-offs. Freak-offs were elaborate, which means it was multifaceted, which means it needed a lot of people to make this thing work, and produce sex performances that Combs engaged, directed, masturbated on, and often electronically recorded. In arranging these freak-offs, Combs, with his assistant and members and associates of Combs enterprise, transported and caused to be transported commercial sex workers across state lines and internationally. That he took this shit out the country. Freak-offs occurred regularly, sometimes lasted multiple days, and often involved multiple commercial sex workers. During freak-offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to his victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant, sometimes unbeknownst to the victim, so they didn't always know they was being drugged. Combs kept videos he filmed of victims engaging in sex acts with commercial sex workers. After freak-offs, Combs and the victims typically receive IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. God damn. Yo, did y'all hear that? Yo, the freak-offs was so intense. They needed to refill their bodies with IVs. No, come on now. Yo, that is crazy, Diddler. Hey, yo, did y'all know that Diddler is an addiction? Yo, if you if you look up Diddler, Diddler has a definition. I never knew that. But let's continue, yo. We're going to get to the definition of Diddler after this. Fuck my head up. Members and associates of Combs Enterprise, including high-ranking supervisors, security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and other Combs business employees, facilitated the freak-off by, among other things, booking hotel rooms for the freak-offs, stocking the hotel rooms in advance. You see what I mean? This was elaborate, yo. This was a whole. That's why they're saying it's trafficking. That's why they're saying it's a ring. This was elaborate. They had roles. All right. Once we get the hotel workers, I'm gonna send my guys in there. They gonna set it up all nice. Like, yo, this is a crime, yo. It's a crime. Stocking the hotel rooms in advance with required freak-off supplies, including controlled substances, baby oil, lubricants, extra linens, and lightning. Cleaning the hotel room after the freak-off to try to mitigate the room damage. Like, yo, what was they doing in there, yo? Like, yo, this nigga is crazy. Yo, they was damaging the room in the process. Arranging for travel for victims, commercial sex workers, and Combs and to and from freak-off. Resupplying Combs with requested supplies, delivering large sums of cash to Combs to pay the commercial sex workers. See, everybody had a role, y'all. And scheduling the delivery of IV fluids. Scheduling. In or about March 2024, during search of Combs residents in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies, including narcotics and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricants. Combs subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse to cause the victims to engage in freak-offs. Combs maintained control over his victims through, among other things, physical violence, promises of career opportunities, granting and threatening to withhold financial support, and other coercive means, including tracking their whereabouts, dictating the victim's appearance, monitoring their medical records, controlling their housing, and supplying them with controlled substances. During and separate from the freak-offs, Combs, among other things, hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims at times by their hair. These assaults often resulted in injuries that took days or weeks to heal. Combs also threatened victims' careers and livelihoods, including if they resisted participating in freak-offs. Victims believe, look, so it was threats, y'all, if you didn't participate. Victims believed they could not refuse Combs' demands without risking their financial or job security, or without repercussions in form of physical or emotional abuse. Combs also used the sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recordings that he made during freak-offs as collateral to ensure the continued obedience and silence of the victims. Members and associates of the Combs Enterprise, including Combs security personnel, at times carried firearms. More than one occasion, Combs himself carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten others, including victims and witnesses to his abuse. In or about March 2024, during a search of Combs' residence in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, law enforcement seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 AR-15s that defaced serial numbers, as well as drum magazines. Members and associates of Combs Enterprise enabled Combs' control over victims by following his directions regarding financial payments to victims, advancing or suppressing the victim's career opportunities, and acquiring the controlled substance Combs used to keep the victims compliant. Members and associates of Combs Enterprise at times witnessed Combs' violence toward the victims or the victims' injuries caused by Combs without intervening. Instead, the members and associates of Combs Enterprise helped conceal the violence and abuse by, among other things, assisting Combs in monitoring and preventing victims from leaving locations such as hotels or Combs' residence. These occasions included instances in which a victim was required to remain in hiding, sometimes for several days at a time, to recover from injuries Combs inflicted without being publicly observed. Members and associates of the Combs Enterprise also assisted Combs in locating and contacting victims who attempted to flee his abuse. Like it was no getting away from this nigga, man. Yeah, but this ain't Dubai, buddy. This United States. When employees witnessed to his abuse and others threatened Combs' authority or reputation, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise engaged in acts of violence, threats of financial and reputational harm, and verbal abuse. These acts of violence, including kidnapping and arson. In addition, on multiple occasions, Combs threw objects both objects and people, as well as hit, dragged, choked, and shoved others. While Combs' authority and reputation was threatened by the possibility of negative publicity or legal or law enforcement action against him, including in or about late 2023, following public allegations of Combs' crimes, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise pressured witnesses and victims, including through attempted bribery, to stay silent and to not report what they experienced or they knew to law enforcement. On phone calls, Combs and other members and associates of the enterprise, and among other things, provided these victims and witnesses with false narrative of events in an effort to conceal Combs' crimes. Combs caused these calls to be recorded on at least 2 occasions. So they got recorded phone calls of him threatening people. From at least in or about 2008 through on or about the date of filing of this indictment in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, all his names, the defendant and others known and unknown began persons employed by and associated with Combs Enterprise described in paragraphs 6 through 12 of this indictment, the enterprise and engaged in, and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly combined, conspired, which is to say confederated and agreed together and with each other to violate the racketeering laws of the United States, Title 18, United States Code, Section 1962C. That is, to conduct and participate directly and indirectly in the conduct of affairs of Combs Enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, as that term is defined in Title 18, United States Code, Section 1961-1 and 1961-5, consisting of multiple acts involving kidnapping, chargeable under the following provision of state law. California Penal Code. All right, we ain't gonna kidnapping. We ain't gotta do that. Multiple acts of arson and chargeable under the following provision state law. Multiple acts of bribery chargeable by the provision state law. Multiple acts witness intimidation, witness tampering, forced labor, sex trafficking. Multiple acts of relating to transportation and inducement to travel for purposes of prostitution and other illegal sexual activities. Multiple offenses involving possession with intent to distribute or distribution of narcotics and controlled substances, including cocaine, oxycodone, whatever that is. Melaloxin, I don't even know how to pronounce that. God, that boy taking a lot of drugs. Jesus Christ. It was part of a conspiracy that Combs, a.k.a. P. Diddy, a.k.a. and all them names, the defendants agreed that a conspirator would commit at least 2 acts of racketeering activity in the conduct and affairs of Combs Enterprise. Notice of a special sentencing factor. Okay. From at least in or about 2009 up into and including in or about 2018 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, part of this agreement to conduct and participate in the conduct of affairs of Combs Enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, all his names, the defendant agreed to in affecting interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly recruit, entice, harbor, transport, provide, obtain, advertise, maintain, patronize, and solicit by any means a person knowing in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threats of force, fraud, coercion, and described in Title 18, United States Code Section 1591 E-2, in any combination of such means would be used to cause the person to engage in a commercial sex act in a violation of Title 18. All right, so you got count 2, sex trafficking. Count 3, transportation to engage in prostitution. All right, we saying forfeiture. What they trying to forfeit whatever they can get. Substitute assist provision. If any of the above described forfeiture property as a result, then cannot be placed. Yeah, they trying to take everything. So that's the whole indictment, y'all. All right, so look. So that's the whole indictment. Then we got, what is this? We're going to go through the whole document. Okay, so this is the judge. I mean, this is to deny his bond. The Honorable United States Magistrate Judge, the defendant Sean Combs, dear judge. All right, so this is the letter that they wrote. The United States government wrote to deny his bond. The government respectfully submits this letter in anticipation of the defendant's appearance before this court later today in support of the government request for the defendant's detention pending trial. As set forth below, there is no condition or combination of conditions that will reasonably assure the appearance of the defendant as required in the safety of others and the community, not to mention the integrity of the proceeding. As reflected by the gravity of the charges in the indictment, the defendant is dangerous and poses an ongoing threat to the safety of the community. If released, he remains a serious risk of flight, despite the conditions offered by his counsel. Most glaringly, the defendant also poses a significant risk of obstructing justice. Indeed, and set forth below, during the course of the charged conduct, the defendant has attempted to bribe security staff and threatened to interfere with witnesses to his criminal conduct. He has already tried to obstruct government's investigation of this case, repeatedly contacting victims. Oh wow! So Diddy was already on some bullshit. Already, he might have fucked himself over with that one. He should have known they probably had his phone tapped. He said he has already tried to obstruct the government's investigation of this case, repeatedly contacting victims and witnesses and feeding them false narrative of events as described in the detail below. There are simply no conditions that would ensure that the defendant's effort to obstruct and tamper with witnesses will stop. The defendant therefore cannot overcome the statutory presumption in the favor of detention, and the court should order him detained. We ain't gotta go through the background. We already read that. Yeah, that's the same thing we just read. All right, so then we got the bail conditions. So this is the conditions that his lawyer set for the judge. Dear Judge, Mr. Combs, through his counsel, submit this letter to the court for release on certain specified conditions. Yesterday evening, Mr. Combs was arrested on the indictment charging him with the following offenses. This letter will walk the court through a series of actions taken by Mr. Combs over the past 6 months that prove that he is not a flight risk or a danger to anyone in the community. These actions prove that Mr. Combs is immensely trustworthy and he is demonstratively committed to showing his innocence in court in the context of this case, and that he should be released on the conditions proposed in the order to do so. The first thing the court should know is that when it became apparent to his counsel that Mr. Combs would at some point soon be formally charged, he did something extraordinary. He left his home in Miami and traveled to New York, the very location of the prosecution and agents investigating him. Through counsel, Mr. Combs promptly told the government that he had voluntarily come to New York, offered to tell them specifically where he was, and offered to turn himself in at the appropriate time. Even though Mr. Combs came to New York, authorized his lawyers to tell the government of his location, and offered to surrender, the government effected an arrest last evening. This, we know, is the government's right. However, that he traveled to New York to self-surrender is also something the court should consider. This was not the first action Mr. Combs took to show his trustworthiness and lack of flight risk. Indeed, it is part of a pattern since even before March 25th, 2024 searches on Mr. Combs' residence. Mr. Combs and his counsel had been fully aware that the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York had been conducting an investigation involving allegations concerning racketeering. Oh, so they already knew what was going on. So they knew them raids was coming in March. Trafficking and others. Knowing for these many months that would be indicted, Mr. Combs, so they knew they was getting indicted. I think he just writing that. You know, lawyers do that sometimes. Knowing for these many months that he would be indicted, Mr. Combs has done everything, as well as set out below, to work with the prosecution in a way that's unusual, if not unprecedented. All right, so this was the proposal. The defense proposes a $50 million bond. A. B. Co-signed by Sean Combs, his mother, his sister, the mother of his oldest daughter, and his 3 adult sons. C. Secured by the equity in Mr. Combs' residence located at 2 West Star Island in Miami, Florida. A. The appraised value of the home is about $48 million. The home is encumbered in anticipation of bail hearing. On August 20th, 2024, Mr. Combs paid off the remaining mortgage of about $18 million so that the home could be used to secure a bond. Yeah, so they been getting ready and free up the mortgage and be free of a mortgage. So he's saying he owned a home, so he's able to put that whole home up for collateral. Damn. But this show you, y'all. I mean, I guess that's the best way to do it. You don't want to give him 50 million cash. If he had 50 million cash, I think they'd take that. He probably ain't got 50 million cash. If Diddy had 50 million cash, I think the court would take that. What y'all think, y'all? If Diddy was able to get him 50 million cash, do y'all think the court would take it for bail? I think they would. Secured by the equity of Mr. Combs' mother, home located at 450 Elton Road in Miami, Florida. E. Mr. Combs' travel will be restricted to the Southern District of Florida and the Southern District of New York to attend court, meet with his counsel, and attend medical appointments, which we will address to the court in a separate sealed submission. As well, why are they sealing it? As well as the Eastern District of New York or the District of New Jersey, only to the extent that his travel to and from New York involves an airport in those districts. Man, they ain't letting you get on no motherfucking airplane, buddy. Mr. Combs' passport was surrendered to his counsel on April 1st, 2024. His counsel advised the prosecution of this fact in an email dated the same day. Counsel will provide this passport to the pretrial service. So they try to argue up their passport. The passport of the following family members who have already surrendered their passport to counsel after the raids on Mr. Combs' home: Janice Combs, Chance Combs, Jesse Combs, Delia Combs, and Love Combs. They trying to sell his airplane too. What's this? Since at least April 2024, Mr. Combs has been making efforts to sell his airplane. We informed the government of these efforts in May 2024, as explained further below. Just this weekend, Mr. Combs entered a letter of intent with a party to sell it. Mr. Combs intends he is not to travel to Los Angeles, where the plane has been located this week, and further that the plane is not to be brought to any district in which he is located until it's sold. Home detention with a GPS monitoring. All other standards of conditional pretrial release. Email, introduce yourself to counsel, speak. We don't need to read. All right. On March 13th, 2024, counsel for Mr. Combs emailed the assigned assistant United States attorney in this introductory mail, in the introductorial mail, counsel identified him as a counsel for Mr. Combs and stated that he wished to speak with the prosecutors and share information about Mr. Combs and the matter under investigation. After not hearing back from the United States attorney, counsel again emailed the prosecutors on March 18, 2024. Counsel did not get a response to the second email either. On March 25th, 2024, search warrants were executed at Mr. Combs' place. Oh, so yeah, they knew these charges was coming down the pipeline. They was reaching out to the state's attorney before they even hit the house. But that should let them know they ain't trying to play. They ain't trying to talk. These motherfuckers is on bullshit. They on bullshit with Mr. Combs. That's why, if y'all remember what his lawyer said when they first hit the house, like, I don't know why they came like this. Like, we was willing to surrender. The searches of the residence were usually public and particularly heavy-handed. The agents had assault rifles trained on the heads and chests of his children, who were then handcuffed and brought before news cameras in a press helicopter. On the day of the searches, counsel called the prosecution and they spoke for him. They spoke for the first time. Counsel indicated that he would accept services of 2 grand jury subpoenas to Mr. Combs' businesses. After about a week following the searches on April 1st, counsel took possession of Mr. Combs' U.S. passport. As noted, on this same day, counsel advised Assistant United States Attorney of the fact that counsel had Mr. Combs' passport, that we would not return it to him, and that he would not leave the country during the pendency of the investigation. All right, we don't need to read no more of that. Over Combs. Man, they're not giving that boy no bail, y'all. He too powerful. Too much. He can leave. He got too much money. He got too many resources. He knows too many people. My bad, y'all. But they ain't giving him no bail. But let me show y'all this. Do I got anything else to show y'all? Did y'all see the baby? Did y'all see the house, the raids? Did y'all see the picture of the how he had the baby oil everywhere? Let me show y'all. Look at this. Man, Diddy is wild, man. I don't got no sympathy for Shorty, man. Look. Yeah, he gonna get right back, man. You can't. He got too much money, man. Look, y'all. Here go the baby bottles. I mean, baby oil. Look at this shit, y'all. Like, what, Diddy? Why do you got so many goddamn baby oils? Like, they releasing video. Look at that shit. That nigga got a whole, like, yo, why? Like, yo, what is going on in there, yo? Them freakos probably getting out of hand, man. Hey, yo, them freakos probably getting out of hand. Yo, like, yo, why do you need so much baby oil? Like, what they been that bitch wrestling? He probably like, I want to see you wrestle. Put the baby on oil up real good. I just want to see y'all wrestle for a minute. Like, yo, Diddy wild as a motherfucker, man. Yo, that nigga crazy. Yo, that is a lot of baby oil. They probably like, sir, why you keep buying so much baby oil? You know, this is what we do, baby. Look, so all day they've been posting clips of Diddy, old clips.
Don't mind if I do. I wouldn't. Shut.
Don't call him little dry skin.
Don't mind if I do.
Hey, y'all funny as shit. Look. Yeah, so hey, look, so all day, you know, black people think everything a fucking joke. So this what Diddy lawyer saying. That Cassie hit him with the phone. Man, that shit ain't deserve that kind of motherfucking aggression, Diddy. The fuck?
Don't mind if
That did not deserve that type of aggression. Straight up.
I want to see nobody, no black man, no black woman, but behind bars. You know what I'm saying? Even though there's reasons people should be there.
Brooklyn Babs on the line. She got a event to promote called Prom 2. She gonna get to that, but the people want to know what's your reaction to Diddy being in federal custody. Let's get it.
First, okay, so let's get this. First of all, I've been watching you in a room at a table and a mic, and you sitting down with people, and I ain't get the call. So if the people want to know,
Yo, this is bigger than porn, yo. Rewind the video, like yo, people not understand it, yo. It's mental manipulation to the peak. It's not about porn. It's about a person controlling his whole environment, even the people. And he's using his money, he's using his resources, he's using his influence to do it. Yo, that is a crime, y'all. While engaging in sexual activity with the person, yo, that is a fucking crime. Like, yo, I don't understand why people don't see that, yo. Like, you can't do that to people. You can't do that. Yo, you can't have you can't have a person's career in your hands, have your life in their hands, have your fucking having sex with them and manipulating them with force. Like, yo, you can't do that, yo. Like, yo, what the fuck, yo, people crazy as shit. Yeah, I just read the indictment. We going off the indictment, man. I read the indictment. I read what Cassie, we listened to what Cassie said. Maybe you need to rewind the video. Maybe you just got over here. That's what we going off for. We going off what was said in the indictment. I'm not making anything up. I'm just telling you, y'all. A lot of y'all motherfuckers, if y'all had some money, y'all be some fucked up people, man. For real, y'all be a lot of people that's saying it's not a crime. Y'all be the motherfuckers that, since y'all got money, y'all gonna try to dictate everything. Try fuck your employees and shit. I mean, you want the promotion, won't you? Yo, that's man, come on now.
I think you need to get me in that room because you out of pocket right now.
And that was old. I did that with Lord Jamal like 2 years ago, but I got you. That's old. But yeah, I'll put you in the room.
When you put it up now,
I'll put you in the room. I'll put you in the room with 2 mics, okay? With 8 cameras. What we doing?
There you go. That's what we doing. That's what we doing. So yes, it's a crazy time out here. So let me just say this. First of all, we ain't gonna get too deep into it, but I'm just gonna say, who would have thought this, right? I would have never thought that 5 years ago we wouldn't have thought this would have been happening today, but it's happening. You know what I mean? So that's really what I gotta say about this.
No, yo, I don't think they want Diddy. Yo, I think they want Diddy. Yo, they giving the people an opportunity. Whoever was involved, they giving them an opportunity to tell. That's what in but so many words. That's what the lead prosecutor said. If you was involved, if you know anything about these activities, I suggest you get with us. That's what he said. That was a threat. I mean, that was a soft press. That was to say, if you don't get with us, we're gonna get with you. And you don't want us to get with you. So I don't think they want nobody else, y'all. Like whatever Diddy did, whatever he done, he pissed somebody off. He pissed somebody off. No, they ain't say he cooperated. They ain't say he cooperated. But they did say, if we can go back to it if you want, go back to the live I did earlier. They did say that if you know anything about this, get with us. Because this is an ongoing investigation. That's what they called it, an ongoing investigation. There y'all funny as shit. Let's see what else happened. Hold on. I know Jaguar Wright had a whole lot to say. Of course she did. Let's see, y'all. If anybody spoke out. Yeah, yo, but yo, this is a crime. Like, you can't do that, yo. You can't just because you got influence. Like I say, yo, like what if Cassie only wanted to perform in one freak off? You know? What if she only wanted to perform in one? And he made her perform in 21. Like, that's a crime, yo. Like, yo, what it sounds like, and I think I explained this before. What it sounds like is he brought these girls in under false pretenses. No. He lured Cassie in thinking it was just gonna be a relationship. You know, you my girl, I'm gonna take care of you. You know, I'm gonna make sure you all right. I'm gonna propel your music career. He sold her a dream. And then that dream turned into a nightmare. You know, it started out like that, and then it turned into he beating her ass. He making her use drugs. He making her perform freak offs. You heard when she tried to get away, he was yo, she was in a relationship. That man went and got her for a freak off. In a relationship with somebody else. Like, nah, man, I need you. You my number one star. You know? Like, yo, you can't do that to people. Yo, then he was doing it from state to state, having motherfuckers fly in. They had a whole elaborate scheme. Like, that's what y'all don't understand. This was a whole elaborate scheme. All right, we're going to set up the freak off. All right, you come with the bag of money. You going to pay the people. You come with the baby oil. You going to set up the rum. Like, yo, that's like a fucking, you know, a criminal ring. And that's how they explaining it. It's a criminal ring. Like, yo, you at the job, if you're a supervisor, yo, you're not even supposed to be able to have sex with your employees. You'll get fired for that. Why do you get fired for that, y'all? Because you have the option of luring opportunity over top of them. That's why if you work at any job, they don't want the managers dealing with the employees. If you're a manager, you can't deal with the workers. If you're a district manager, you can't deal with the manager. If you're a regional manager, you can't deal with the district manager. If you're a fucking CEO, you can't deal with the regional. You get fired for that. They get fired for that. Conflict of interest. What the hell? How do you find him not guilty if he just locked him up? No, they gave him a no bail. They denied his bail so far. He got another. They said they're gonna hold him till trial. I knew he wasn't getting no bail. So let's go to the bail hearing. Puffy. I knew he wasn't getting no bail. He too powerful, y'all. Man can make
the
things
Harris
move.
record is clear. Open borders, relentless inflation, weak leadership. If you want change, go from
Make
home
sure you hit
and
that like
during
button,
this
man. If you want to
election.
support the platform
Visit
after all that reading, man, cash that Baltimore swag, man.
today.
I just did a whole hour of
Something that
reading
we're
for
following
y'all.
this afternoon that many people are also following as well. This is, of course, a shot outside of that New York courtroom where we know that Sean P. Diddy Combs has officially been charged with
I'm gonna need
sex
some new
trafficking.
content. I got a whole bunch of
They are there
content.
in the
You
courtroom
must have been
right
to the
now,
page. You must be
deciding
new.
whether or not if he will receive bail in this case. The judge just returned from a very brief recess. In just a few minutes, we did just get this update in from AP. It says
What
the
happened,
judge
Quentin?
is
What you
refusing
talking
to
about?
grant bail to Sean Diddy Combs, orders him sent back to jail where he will await sex trafficking trial. Very important that we just get this update in here live. Sean Diddy will not have bail in this case. Again, this was a major part of what his lawyers were arguing for, and potentially even putting up a $50 million proposal in order to make sure that did happen. It will not be happening. In fact, I do want to pull up this tweet as well here. That just shows you the same thing. Again, this is breaking news right here on Live Now from Fox. A judge has refused to grant bail to Sean Diddy Combs, orders him to be sent to jail where he will await his trial. Again, his lawyers have said that he did plead not guilty and that he is innocent in this case. I want to read this other tweet that we have here from inside the courtroom. The judge said that there was a significant
We don't troll over here. We have real conversation.
as well. Also, coercion of witnesses, even gentle coercion, can be effective. The type of behavior we're talking about happens behind closed doors. I thank your family members for coming, but I cannot release him. We do also know that today, Sean Diddy Combs' children also attended the courtroom. Some of those, he does have 7 children, 3 adult boys, and several minor girls that are his kids that are under the age of 18. But again, the judge is now refusing to grant bail. Another live look there outside of the courthouse, what we are expecting to see.
Oh shit, yo, my bad. I forgot. I still got this shit on talking all fast. My bad, y'all.
The family members of Sean Combs potentially exit, as well as possibly hear the latest from prosecutors or the defense team. Now that we know he will not be granted bail, he will be sitting in jail while he awaits trial. Again, with these things, they're always so fluid. We'll continue to bring you the latest as we learn more right here on Live Now.
Let's see what else they got. See what's the newest news. 32 minutes. I always say 32. Oh, Cole's Lord said he will appeal the decision. I doubt if they give him a bond. He would have to give him 50 million cash. If he give him 50 million cash, they give him a bond.
Now to New York City, an attorney for Sean Diddy Combs is speaking to reporters following the music mogul's indictment. Let's listen in.
We have a bail appeal scheduled for tomorrow at 3:30.
I don't know, Big Rig.
The district judge assigned to
He
this
did
case.
something, bro.
I think that we made the points that we've been wanting to make. I think he came out. Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. He came to New York to establish his innocence. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of the charges. There's nothing that the government said in their presentation today that changes anyone's mind about anything. He's been looking forward to this day. He's been looking forward to clearing his name, and he's going to clear his name. And we're going to stand by his side as he does. We believe in him wholeheartedly. He didn't do these things. This was a 10-year relationship. There's no coercion. There's no crime. There's basically just, someone who brought a civil case and now is finding themselves as a witness in a criminal case. And we're going to fight this case with everything we have, as is he. And eventually he's going to be shown to be innocent. And so tomorrow we fight again, and we'll fight every day until we don't have to fight anymore. I don't know. The question is, why did it happen last night instead of today? I don't know the answer to that question. I just want to make one point very clear. We have no power. All we can do is show good faith. He got on a plane and he came here. And if he stayed here for one day before the case started, or for 1 year before the case started, he was going to stay as long as he needed to stay. It ends up being only 12 days. That's fine. That's what the government wanted to do. The government didn't want him to turn himself in. He came here to turn himself in. Why doesn't the government want him to turn himself in? Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest a guy who came to New York to turn himself in. But we're going to make all these points again tomorrow, and we'll make him as much as we can until we get him out. So that's all I have. Huh?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Wait, what was the question? We're appealing. We're no bail. He's detained.
We're appealing it.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're appealing the decision to hold him without bail. Tomorrow at 3:30. 3:30, same place.
Will he be here? Will he be here?
Bail appeal. Bail appeal tomorrow at 3:30, same courtroom, different judge. He's doing fine. He's a fighter. He's a fighter, and he's gonna fight this. All right, I'm gonna go. Thank you. I don't get into that stuff.
Okay. How about the twins?
And you've been listening.
Yo, so this is basically Diddy versus Cassie. That's what this is, y'all. This is Diddy versus Cassie. The whole case is built around Cassie's testimony. That's what this is going to be. This is going to be crazy. If this go to trial, which sound like it is, because I see a lot of people say Diddy need to cop. Yo, I don't think they're going to allow Diddy to cop out. Yo, like they not down. Nah. Unless he can pay a lot of money. If he can pay a lot of money, he can get a deal. But he's selling all his assets. I don't know how much cash he got. And I'm talking about a lot of money. Like he gonna have to pay a whole lot of money. Could be a money grab. But this is what happens when you play the game. When you play with dirty people, yo, you're gonna get dirty. Diddy been playing with dirty people for how many years now? Probably 30 years. Now it's just time to get dirty, yo. Like, that's how that shit go. When you let them people build you up, they can break you down. That's just what it is, man. He let them people, they built them up, now they breaking them down. However they breaking them down, he gave them the ammunition to do it. Gave them ammunition to do it. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. Yo, but look, let me show y'all, yo, the definition of a diddler. Like, somebody had to have did this. Watch this. Somebody had to put this on here, yo. The diddler can't be a word. What's the definition of diddler?
Nazi dictator of
Not
Germany.
Hitler. What's the definition of diddler?
Nazi dictator of Germany.
Yo, okay, keep asking me
According to
fucking.
dictionary.com,
I don't want to hear who he
Hitler
is. Diddler. Look, y'all.
Diddler.
The diddler. Diddler. A person who cheats or swindles someone. A man cheat or swindle someone, man. I guess pronounced diddler, but that's how you pronounce diddler too. So let's see what else they got, man. I mean, yo, at the end of the day, it's you know, he put himself there, man. Now, I'm sure there's some devious intentions behind it. I'm sure it is. But that's what happens, y'all, when you play the game. You know, you got to play to the end. All right, he's speaking right here. This was an hour ago.
As CEO of Wall Street's largest hedge fund, Dave McCormick bet against American
I guess so,
steel.
bro.
So, thank you, Caitlin. So I think we have a good shot tomorrow. Tomorrow we argue in front of the district court judge whose case this is. Today we argued in front of a magistrate judge whose case this is not. We'll never have this magistrate as our judge again. But tomorrow we argue in front of Judge Carter, and it's...
I fucked it up. So they was in front of magistrate judge. So the feds, they go in front of magistrate too? I ain't know that.
Judge Carter's case till the end. So hope springs eternal, but I think we have strong arguments, and I think we have a good chance.
Well, and what prosecutors are arguing is not only does your client pose a flight risk, because obviously he's incredibly wealthy, has access to planes and a lot of staff, even though you said he turned over his passport to you months ago. They were also worried about him being able to interfere with witnesses and calling them. And so I guess the question is, how do you assure the court that that won't happen if prosecutors are saying this is someone who's attempted to bribe security staff and has already threatened and interfered with witnesses.
So I think that the most important thing, even more important than the passport, is that Mr. Combs came to New York on September 5th. As soon as we realized that this indictment was going to be coming down in a matter of weeks, maybe months, but sometime soon, Mr. Combs got on a plane, left his home in Florida, flew to New York. I called the prosecutors myself. I said, Mr. Combs is in New York. Do you want to know where he is? If you want to know where he is, I'll tell you where he is. But he wants to surrender. He's here to surrender.
Yeah, he's chasing
clout.
clout.
Want him to surrender. Because if he surrenders, they don't get to tell the judge that he's a flight risk and he's a danger. Because who, as a danger and a flight risk, would fly to New York and surrender? So they didn't want him to surrender.
So since September 5th, you had known, you expected it was likely he was going to formally face charges.
So I really knew he was formally going to face charges on March 25th, the day of the searches. When Homeland Security searched his Los Angeles home, his Miami home, and his airplane, I knew that day.
So they should have a head start on the case.
I mean, I've been doing this for a while. This is not my first or 100th rodeo. That this was going to come as a matter of time. What I realized in early September is that it was coming soon. And so it was time for Mr. Combs to come to New York, which he did. And let me just point out one very important thing. The prosecutors are seizing on something that happened 8 years ago. You know, this video that we've all seen, and it's a bad video for Mr. Combs, and he said so himself when he gave his apology. This is 8 years ago, and the prosecutors are talking about him bribing a hotel security worker. There was no criminal investigation. This was just a matter of personal embarrassment because he and the person in the video were in the midst of a 10-year relationship. That was difficult at times. That was toxic at times, but it was mutually so. And this whole notion that Mr. Combs is forcing drugs on someone is just nonsensical, and it's going to prove to not be true.
Well, on that video, he initially denied the allegations when his then girlfriend, who was in that video, filed a lawsuit last fall.
He probably is.
And we have that video. I should note, CNN was the first outlet to exclusively report on it. He denied that happened when she filed it in a complaint. And then when the video came out is when he apologized for it.
So I wasn't his lawyer back then. So I don't think he denied. I mean, I think the lawyers were the ones mostly making the denials. I think they were denying sex crimes. I mean, because at the end of the day, the gravamen of that civil complaint wasn't a misdemeanor assault, which is what you see on that video. Not minimizing it, but it's a misdemeanor assault. What the gravamen of that misdemeanor assault, and he denied that, and he still does.
Well, you're saying that this is all just about that one relationship, but when you read through the indictment, they say that there's not just one victim. They say there's multiple victims here today. And what I heard described was they said they have 50 witnesses or victims.
Yeah, I think it's 49 witnesses and one victim. I think if you broke it down, and I say that because count 2, which is the sex trafficking count, has victim number 1, and there is no victim number 2 anywhere in the indictment.
So you're saying that there are not other women because what they were
Diddy versus Cassie,
here is that
I'm telling you.
Coerced and forced women into sex acts by using physical force, financial pressure, emotional abuse, and narcotics for what they described as these freak-off sessions. They're saying that he self-described them as that.
Yeah, there's one victim in the indictment. That the charging
but
document.
One victim does count, right?
No, of course, but I'm just saying it's not 50. I mean, what they did is a little too cute. It's 50 witnesses or victims. Well, it's one victim. That's all that's in the indictment.
Our reporter who was in the courtroom today said that he appeared to have a stunned expression on his face. Was he surprised that he was arrested last night?
No, he definitely was not. I mean, I told him myself in early September, you are going to be arrested soon, and you're going to be charged with racketeering, and you're going to be charged with sex trafficking. So come to New York. It wasn't a long conversation. He agreed. So we knew this was coming, and in fact, we offered that he would turn himself in.
So if there are these witnesses and victims, and as you're saying that you believe it's one victim and 49 witnesses who saw this behavior, that's pretty powerful, though, to have that many people who have, if they go to court and argue that they witnessed this behavior by your client.
Well,
what's your defense against that going to be?
So my defense is very well established. I interviewed myself, the different men who
you stupid as shit
into Mr. Combs and this person's intimate situation.
That should be in charge.
All around the country, I've interviewed a large number of them. there's not the slightest inkling, according to the interviews that I've done.
What I tell y'all. What I say, he should have had a head start on the case if he know about it. Shit, he said he narrated and interviewed some of the witnesses.
There's not the slightest inkling, according to the interviews that I've done, of anything that's coercive, non-consensual. Nobody was too drunk. Nobody was too high. These were adults in a relationship. This is a 10-year relationship. We can't forget that. This is a 10-year relationship. And it was adults and consensual, and everybody who was there wanted to be there. So I feel very confident in our position.
You said you interviewed the men, but what about...
Trump has left the building. We can now project the winner of the presidential race.
Man, I wonder who back. Cassie got somebody backing her, man. What the fuck happened to part 2? This part 2?
What prosecutors are arguing is not only does your client pose a flight risk, because obviously he's incredibly wealthy, has access to planes and a lot of staff, even though you said he turned over his passport 2 months ago, they were also worried about him being able to interfere with witnesses and calling them. And so I guess the question is, how do you assure the court that won't happen?
I think this is just Cassie. The case sound like it's Cassie versus Diddy. That's what it sounds like. It's like it's Cassie versus Diddy.
Who's attempted to bribe security staff and has already threatened and interfered with witnesses.
So I think that the most important thing, even more important than the passport, is that Mr. Combs came to New York on September 5th. As soon as we realized that this indictment was going to be coming down in a matter of weeks, maybe months, but sometime soon, Mr. Combs got on a plane, left his home in Florida, flew to New York. I called the prosecutors myself. I said, Mr. Combs is in New York. Do you want to know where he is? If you want to know where he is, I'll tell you where he is. But he wants to surrender. He's here to surrender. They didn't want him to surrender, because if he surrenders, they don't get to the judge that he's a flight risk.
He did it. Yo, crazy as hell.
As a danger and a flight risk would fly to New York and surrender. So they didn't want him to surrender.
So since September 5th, you had known, you expected it was likely he was going to formally face charges.
So I really knew he was formally
I don't think they're going to offer him no deal.
On March 25th, the day of the searches. When Homeland Security searched his Los Angeles home, I told him myself in early September, you are going to be arrested soon, and you're going to be charged with racketeering, and you're going to be charged with sex trafficking.
But we didn't see these pictures last time.
Come to New York. It wasn't a long conversation. He agreed. So we knew this was coming, and in fact, we offered that he would turn himself in.
So if there are these witnesses and victims, and as you're saying that you believe it's one victim and 49...
These were adults in a relationship, cannot try to interview a grand jury witness.
And you don't think that there are
presumably a grand jury witness.
The men, but what about the women?
A 10-year relationship, and it was adults and consensual, and everybody who was there wanted to be there. So I feel very confident in our position.
You said you interviewed the men, but what about
he can come off if they give him a deal, but I don't think they're going to give him no deal. They're going to make him fight this shit.
To me. She's presumably a grand jury witness, and we would not.
They ain't get none of them no deal. Epstein, R. Kelly.
And you don't think that there are any
Weinstein,
women
they made all of them fight.
That they were coerced into this, given drugs, and essentially as prosecutors were saying that that's what kept them compliant.
So there are a lot of women in these civil cases. There's been a mountain of civil cases ever since the civil case that was filed in November. I don't see them as victims in the indictment. That's my point.
And so when you talk about that video of Cassie Ventura, that was his then girlfriend, in the video, I mean, just when you saw that, you said it's a bad video. It's pretty difficult to watch.
It is, no question. So let me tell you what happened.
Will that be used as evidence in court? Do you think?
100%, 100%. So what I said in court today, and I'll say it again,
copyright that shit.
Is the two of them were in a hotel. It was just the two of them in a hotel room. She found out that he was seeing someone else. She was going through his phone. She hit him in the head with his own phone, and then she walks into the hallway with two bags. One of the bags has all of his clothes.
That rope is your lifeline. Never let go.
So I guess the lawyer's just serving as his mouthpiece right now, trying to, get his version of events out. Like damage control.
Which is why he runs out in a towel. So this isn't her fleeing from one of these freak-offs. Why would she take his clothing? That's not what it is. And when the evidence comes out, this is going to be completely different than the government's portrayed it.
But on this video, and I just want to show that again now, how do you defend against allegations that he hit, kicked, and dragged women when he's on video hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman?
Sure, he's not charged with hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman. He's charged with sex trafficking, and he didn't traffic anybody.
But he's charged with a conspiracy here where he was using physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial pressure, as prosecutors allege, to keep these women in his fold. Maybe just Cassie Ventura, but keeping these women in the fold.
Cassie Ventura lived by herself. She had her own house. She had a family. She had a career. And he was seeing another woman at the time. He wasn't around a lot. She could have done whatever she wanted to do. All of these allegations of, I was forced, I was coerced, I had to stay, are nonsense. And it's going to be proven to be so.
That video, in the indictment, it alleges that your client paid hotel staff $50,000 to make it disappear from the hotel surveillance system. Did he pay off the hotel staff?
Not that I know of. I know that's an allegation. I don't know that is true. What I was concerned about when I heard about this allegation is whether there was an allegation that there was some sort of law enforcement investigation pending, because then that would be a crime. But there was none. And so this is not a crime.
You said you're portraying this as adults who were at these events that wanted to be, I shouldn't even call them events. That's not certainly how anyone else would label it, but that they wanted to be there. But they also allege that they were recorded and essentially used as blackmail. Is that not true?
That's not true. That's not true.
How can you prove that when they have electronic evidence that, as they argue, over 90 cell phones, laptops, iCloud storage accounts, 30 electronic and storage devices, hard drives, thumb drives? You're not worried about that?
No, because if they had it, they would have put it in the indictment. That's not in the indictment.
When it comes to your client's credibility, I think people will look at what he said last fall. And it's not just his attorneys. I mean, he pays those attorneys. They're speaking on his behalf. They're the ones calling her claims baseless and ridiculous. And when you read the indictment today, they line up with what she alleged in that lawsuit last fall.
If the claim is that he had unwanted sex with her, that claim is baseless. And it will be proven to be baseless when we have a trial.
But the claim is obviously the conspiracy, the racketeering. It's much larger than just that, obviously, as you know.
It is, but the government wants it to be. But count 2, which is the sex trafficking count, relates to one person and one person alone. All of this talk of dozens of victims and 50 witnesses, if they had that, if they really had it, it would be in the indictment.
I don't know, man. The lawyer talking like this shit mincemeat. Hey, man, the lawyer talking like it's mincemeat, man. I guess we gonna see how it all play out. Guess we gonna see how it all play out, man. That's wild. Like, yo, you shouldn't even have your name nowhere close to nothing like this. You feel me? If you don't operate under these type of rules and regulations, yo, you ain't never gotta worry about being drugged into. That's how I look at it, yo. Like certain claims people shouldn't be able to make about you, man. It shouldn't be, certain things should never be around your name. If you wasn't doing it, if you wasn't sex trafficking, he was moving mighty close to it. You know, for them to even be able to make those claims. They shouldn't be able to say nothing like that, man. That's how I look at it. You said what? Can he beat what? Yeah, but that's how I look at it, though, y'all. Like, well, I guess we'll see. The lawyer talking like it's nothing. I ain't gonna lie, he talking like it's nothing. Like, man, they lying about the evidence. You know, they can do that at those hearings. They lying about the evidence. They ain't really got shit. We ain't tripping, basically. He might just have to sit it out. You know, he probably gonna lose a whole lot of money. A whole lot of money. Maybe he can rebuild it back up. They might, I don't know, y'all. You never know. you know, this entertainment, yo, that shit, it's a dirty game, man. It's a dirty game. I know. I don't respect none of that shit I heard. I don't give a fuck what they call it. I don't respect it. Smoke freaky ass shit. 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Like, what the fuck is you? Like, yo, crazy, yo. That's a lot of baby oil, man. They probably like a gang. Diddy, you just bought 700. You just bought 50 bottles. Yeah, I need another 50. It's getting real tonight. Nigga Diddy crazy, man. Yo, but I'm ready to go though, y'all. I appreciate everybody that tapped in, yo. Make sure y'all watch that video I just dropped on Nicki Minaj. He said this ain't Atlanta. I said, right. Mr. Combs, you have a invoice $65,000 for baby oil. yeah. What's gonna handle that? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's how they running it, y'all. I don't know if the lawyer looking at it like that, but it sounds like the United States is looking at it like, yo, everybody had a job to do, and it was everybody had to do everything right, you know, for this to work properly. And that's why they're saying it's a RICO. That's why they're saying it's an organization, because it was organized. It was organized. It was organized crime. Y'all crazy as a motherfucker, man. Yo, but I'm ready to go though. Y'all appreciate everybody that tapped in. Y'all another day. Keep it GD, and I'm out.